So Jacqueline came to Kenya with one intention, and I'm telling it here without fear. I believe Jacqueline came to Kenya to come and strike a deal with Peter K, so that aongee na yeye kule nyuma, awache kuongelelea hizo makesi, apewe pesa. That is why she came to Kenya. Kama hamjui, she did not come to Kenya for the victims. She came to Kenya to strike a deal with the perpetrator. That is why she came to Kenya, and that is why she is no longer paying attention to the case. How can she say that DCIO ndiye anafanya hiyo kazi? DCIO mwenyewe sio polisi. Jacqueline now, apparently, there are some people fighting, akina Peter Kioi are fighting because they know very well Jacqueline has come and she's in the middle, and she's even gone to the office kwenda huko kuona pastor. Kwa hivyo chances zao za kupata hizo pesa zimefungwa kwa sababu Jacqueline is gonna be getting any money before them, and that's why they are fighting. That's why they are fighting. They are all fighting for a piece of the cake. They are not fighting because they care about justice or integrity. No. Peter Kioi is fighting because he wants a piece of the cake. Ralph Muri is fighting because he also wants a piece of the cake. Don King is fighting because he's protecting the little pieces he's eaten from Jacqueline Omewa. That's why he's protecting her. There's nothing else. It's the money. I hope everybody's fine. It's been a while, and of course, I'm not going to forget by introducing this month as a month for women, because on the 8th we celebrated International Women's Day, and I am so glad that I'm a lover of women and I am pro-women any day. And this is to all the women out there. Remember yourselves, love yourselves. This month, it's a month for women. Think about what is good for you. Think about the strides you've made in life. Think about the good things that you have achieved. Pat yourself in the back. Don't cry too much about the pain. Focus on the beautiful things you have done for yourself as a woman. It's a Women's Month, and it's also Black History. We are continuing from February, and it's important that we remember to love ourselves, because self-love is so important. And this is why I've opened this lab. You know, a lot of you are making a lot of noise going on in the street. I put that song because siku hizi saa ile ninaongelelea, nazungumuzia maneno ambayo yanaguzia kubakwa, kunajisiwa ama dhambi za kijinsia. Sipendi sana nikiwa natumia lugha ya kimombo, kwa sababu la TikTok USA huwa inatega masikio yake sana kwa live yangu. So I will speak sometimes with the Swahili, because there's something I want to talk about today. And yes, I would be addressing Jacqueline Omewa and DCIO. Now, this song that I have played is called Gambler. And of course, most of you know it. It's by Kenny Rogers, the late Kenny Rogers. And I've dedicated this song to Jacqueline Omewa, DCIO, na vipande vyake vya sabuni kwa hiyo koti yake, the kangaroo coat. Because sometimes it's important that you give them a little bit of a wake-up call. And guys, I have told you that TikTok is a place where human beings behave differently. This is a place where there's a lot of mediocrity, and people like mediocrity. People like to align with stupidity on this platform. So I understand, and I will always say it without fear. So today I was listening to everything that's going on, and of course I've been busy, so sikuwa na time kutoka jana kuongea, kujibu whatever is happening on this platform. And I think as a TikToker, when you tick, we talk. When you talk, we tick, and that's how it happens on this platform. First of all, I have done my own investigation, and it's important that I give you my findings, and you people know that I record all the calls. Number one thing, and I need you to note this down, and go tell Jacqueline Omewa and DCIO that I have found out there is no police report in Kasarani, there is no police report in Nakuru. If they have it, they need to display it on their screen. Kwa sababu wako live sahi, ninawatuma muende waambie waweke OB na police report pale na case, because first of all you can never have a warrant of arrest issued for a person mwenye polisi wameshindwa kumpata kama hakuna case file. Sawa? Because warrants of arrest that are issued for a person mwenye polisi wameshindwa kumpata zinakuwa issued with a magistrate from a court. When you have been missing and the police cannot find you, the police will use the courts to get a warrant. That is how it works. Sawa sawa? So now tell them to put that warrant that was issued from which magistrate alikuwa may issue, waweke hapo. Mko hapo nao waambiwa waweke that warrant of arrest and which court ilikuwa imetoka na jina ya magistrate mwenye issue hiyo order iwekwe hapo kwa screen. Hizo tu ndo waulize, kwa vile tunaendelea na live, wako live na sisi pia tuko hapa. Ask them, because listen, when we talk about accountability and the rule of law, it's important that we respect. It's important for us to respect the rule of law, guys. Jacqueline Ombewa and her cronies have decided to make, a mockery of the justice system in Kenya. And they're also making a mockery of victims, which is something we cannot just let slide. It's important that I call them out because it's bullshit. And I am sitting there listening to their rubbish and I'm like, what the hell, what the fuck? When did we reach here? When did we become okay with stupidity? How can we be okay with people masquerading as people who understand the law and move along at they are working with law enforcement and they are not doing anything? That's bullshit. Okay? And that's something that I've told you because I've become live when they are also live, and I want you to ask them those questions so that they can give you evidence. First of all, this is the thing that you need to ask Jacqueline Ombewa and DCIO. Number one, they met with the victims. Can they give you a copy of the OB that the victim reported the case in 2 years ago? That's the first thing. They need to give you a copy because reports in police stations do not disappear. Reports in police stations stay on record. They do not disappear. Whether a case has been withdrawn, whether her case has been closed, it is always on record. Tell DCIO and Jacqueline Ombewa to put for you on the screen a copy of the OB that the guy James reported in Nakuru 2 years ago. Awaeke hapo, number one. Hatunaanzia hapo. Number two, tell DCIO and Jacqueline Ombewa to tell you the name of the investigating officer that is handling the case ya James. Waseme jina ya investigating officer mwenye ana handle case ya James, because hauwezi sema you cannot expose the investigating officer. That's a lie. You are already exposing the victims. Those are the people you're supposed to be protecting. Jacqueline has been exposing the victims, so you cannot say you are protecting a police officer. The police officer is not in danger. The person in danger is the victim. So please give us the name of the investigating officer that you're working with, DCIO. Tupatie jina ya investigating officer mwenye ana handle case ya James. Kwa sababu mimi nimepiga simu Nakuru yote mzima pamoja na Kasarani. Kesi ya James hata haiko Kasarani. And let me tell you something, the truth that you need to understand. Number one, hakuna vile polisi wa Kasarani wanaweza kuhandle case ya James. That's a lie. It's bullshit. If a case was already reported in Nakuru, sawa, that case is followed up in Nakuru. You don't come up to follow up a case that was already reported in Nakuru in Kasarani. Things don't work that way. If the case was not reported yet, then we would pay attention. So una report Kasarani, alafu polisi wa Kasarani wanafuatilia mabusu wapi? Nakuru. But hii kesi ilikuwa imesha kuwa reported 2 years ago. Kwa hivyo ni kesi ya kufuatilia. Hakuna vile polisi wa Kasarani wanaweza fuatilia kesi ya Nakuru ambayo it's already going on. Guys, it doesn't work that way. Hiyo ni uongo. It's about jurisdiction. Yes. Thank you, Karen. So there is no way a case that was already reported in Nakuru and the victim went to Nakuru, even kwa hospitali alienda Nakuru na kila kitu ikafanywa Nakuru, alafu tena inarudishwa Kasarani ati DCIO amerudisha kesi Kasarani. That's bullshit, guys. It's a lot of rubbish that is being peddled on those platforms and it's annoying. Honestly, how do you sit and listen to that trash? And the other thing that's going on, which is sick, Cindy Jeff, are you a police officer? How is it that Cindy Jeff, DCIO, wanna track mtu without a police report and an OB? That is criminal. And I'm calling upon the police in Kenya, the DCIO in Kenya, to start investigating this DCIO and Jacqueline Ombewa. Now that Jacqueline Ombewa is in Kenya, it's important that we understand what formula they're using when they are claiming the work and the jobs of the police in Kenya. Because they cannot be tracking someone and they are not police officers. They cannot be tracking someone without a police report. The people who are supposed to track are the police. There's no way they can wake up and say ati wana track mtu ati alafu Peter Kioi akakuja live kusema eti huyo mtu yuko Nakuru sijui yuko wapi ati alafu ndio karibu maneno. That is criminal. There is no day the police stop tracking someone because somebody had exposed their location. No way. It doesn't work that way. The police will continue doing their work. It doesn't matter what you say on social media. You don't get to compromise or stop the work of the police because you've spoken on social media. No, it doesn't work that way. So these three people, they are playing games with you people. And the only reason they are playing games is because there was no police report. The victims' stories do not corroborate enough for them to be taken to court. That is the problem. And that is the truth that Jacqueline Ombewa cannot tell you. Jacqueline Ombewa came all the way to Kenya, charged up. Omalicha, I love you. She came charged up with the idea that she's coming to get Pastor K arrested. And then when she met the victims, she realized these victims do not have medical reports. They don't have any police reports. And then suddenly she is looking for money for the victims to live in a hotel. Like seriously? When will this foolishness stop, guys? Amwezi kuona hii ni ujinga inafanyika kwa hii platform. Victims deserve protection. And this is why when Jacqueline Ombewa brought this thing, the first thing I said is that a victim has the right to go to whatever platform they feel comfortable. But what is most important is that that platform understands victim protection and the way that a victim requires justice and a pathway for justice for a victim. That is clearly something Jacqueline Ombewa has no understanding of. And that's why we are here. So Jacqueline came to Kenya with one intention, and I'm telling it here without fear. I believe Jacqueline came to Kenya to come and strike a deal with Peter K. So that aongee na yeye kule nyuma, awache kuongelelea hizo makesi. Apewe pesa. That is why she came to Kenya. Kama hamjui. She did not come to Kenya for the victims. She came to Kenya to strike a deal with the perpetrator. That is why she came to Kenya. And that is why she is no longer paying attention to the case. How can she say that DCIO ndiye anafanya hiyo kazi? DCIO mwenyewe sio polisi. Jacqueline Ombewa decided to fly all the way from the UK to Kenya to go and work and ask questions to DCIO. The best she could have done was to go straight to Nakuru, get to retrieve the police report, make sure she brings it up to you, because that is accountability. Accountability means that when you start a cause for social justice, you follow it through. That is how accountability works when it comes to social justice. Social justice or activism that uses social media requires identifying a problem, gathering resources to tackle the problem, and then responding and showing results of of how you solve the problem or a pathway to a solution to the problem. Currently, there is a problem that she apparently brought and said is happening on the platform, and she did nothing about it. So there is a problem. She has not tackled it. She has not found a pathway for justice for the victim. She has not found protection for the victims or resources for the victims. There is no police report. There are no medical reports anywhere. Zero. Nada. But she's sitting confidently on a platform lying to you guys that she has nothing to do with it. It's DCIO's problem. Fuck you, Jacqueline Ombewa. If it was DCIO's problem, why did you come to Kenya? If it was DCIO's problem, why did you fly to Kenya? Why are you collaborating with Macaroni? Why? If A victim's problem becomes actions. It's so important. Listen to require protection. Victims require resources, resource justice. And all of these things cannot be achieved if the victims' stories and the victims' accounts of events do not corroborate enough so that the justice system can take up the case. And that is where the problem is. Therein lies the problem. And when we talked about these things, most of you are saying, tuko na wivu, tunataka viewership yake, akona views, yeye ndiye anavuma. Guys, what Jacqueline has currently done, and that platform that calls itself quote unquote a court of Kenya, is that they have minimized and reduced the story of other victims. Because victims will now be afraid to come up and talk about their experiences. When you make a joke and a mockery of victims, you minimize the amount of times would-be victims would report to the authorities. You also shut down avenues for victims to have confidence to come and talk about their stories. That is what happens. You've created a pathway for apathy for victims. And we use social media to protect victims and create safe spaces for them. What that platform that calls itself a TikTok court has done is that they have reduced every opportunity for people who are silent and wanted to share their stories to come out. And they are also reducing an opportunity for people to come out and report cases that they need to report, because they decided to minimize the experiences of victims. First of all, by not paying attention to the victim's account. Second of all, by centering themselves in the conversations about victims and victim support, individualization. And then third, they decided to glorify a perpetrator by also committing crimes by inciting violence to go and attack the church of the perpetrator. So then they changed the conversation. It moved from what happened to the victims, and then it came back to the property of the perpetrator. So the whole conversation has been centered around the perpetrator and not help for the victims, which is sad and shameful and sick. And I think most of you are taking this as content while it really isn't. These are people who came and talked about real stories about what happened to them. The only way to substantiate and to verify the truth is when the evidence is seen and brought out. Accountability means all exams, an OB number, a case file number, a written order and a warrant right from a magistrate court. That is how it works. If those things are not there, everything else happening in that court is bullshit. And that's the truth that you guys need to hear. Because a lot of you like coddling to bullshit, which is sad, but it's the truth. So let me just burst your bubble. There is no case. Even Njiru himself knows very well there is nothing that he's working on. Hakuna hata kitu moja. Jacqueline alikuja akawaambia atakuwa na lawyer mwenye anafanya kazi pro bono. If she had a lawyer working pro bono, that lawyer would have shown up in that court today and told you guys that, guys, this is where I am. We have gotten everything and this is the case file number. Currently, there is a warrant of arrest because we couldn't get him through the normal tracking systems for the CIDs. But there is nothing like that happening. Because number one, there are two reasons. One reason which most of you might not like is that the victims were lying. Number two, it could be that because of how all these cases have been, those things that the victims talked about, they do not corroborate with what Jacqueline thought was on the ground. Period. There are only two reasons why a case cannot go to court. There is nothing else. Just two reasons, okay? And I'm paying attention right now. If all of you can just take a moment and sit back, go and listen to Pastor Gitau's account of what happened to him. Pay attention and then itu pole pole mkasikize zile vitu zenye alikuwa anasema. You can see there are so many gaps in his story. Things that when he appears in a courtroom, they will be used to punch him properly. And that's why it's important to protect victims, because when a victim comes and talks about their story, when you're a person that understands the trauma of a victim, you sit down with them and make sure you can guide them through the pathway towards justice. Because ule Pastor Gitau akienda kotini na ile story, kwa sababu kuna mahali alikuwa anasema aliamka akapigia bibi yake. Tena anasema bibi yake hajui ya kwamba alibakwa. Anavaa pampers na kuna bibi yake ni ngumu sana bibi kukosa kujua unavaa pampers. na unalala na bibi mpaka hata umezaa na yeye hivi majuzi, uko na mtoto wa 2 years, like almost 2 during that timeline. Listen guys, I am always for the victims. I am pro victims anytime. I protect them with my life. But I also am okay with the truth. The truth is very important on this platform, and I have realized that this platform currently is being used by so many people to come and peddle lies. I don't know for what reason. There are people who are now using stories of sexual assault to elevate themselves, and it's very disturbing. It's important for all of us to understand the trauma that comes with and the burden that comes upon victims when we talk about sexual assault and violence against bodies of both women and men and children. Na kusema ukweli, the only reason why nyinyi wote mlianza kukua na hasira kwa hii kesi ni kwa sababu watu waliongelelea mkundu. Kwa sababu Kenya nyinyi watu kudinywa kwa mkundu ni abomination. So vile waliongelelea mkundu, mukaruka nyinyi wote. Mukakimbilia hiyo story. Kwa sababu, let's be real guys, look at the statistics right now. And most of you, if you want, you can go and check because we are having a presentation. And listen, currently in Kenya, the data that is very clear, currently, between the months of August last year, mpaka February, hii February yenyeisha, wanawake wa Kenya 317 wameuliwa kwa mikono ya wanaume. 317. Remember that number. Between August till February 2024 till February 2025, 317 women wamekufa kwa sababu ya intimate partner violence. Now, out of those 317 women, 69 of those women, 69 of those women walibakwa. So where's the outrage? The reason why I'm giving you those examples so that you understand. So it is the outrage because of the Mkundu phenomenon, and it's all about homophobia. That's why. Ni homophobia because most of you, ile story ya Mkundu kudinywa ni kitu inawatisha sana. So nyinyi wote mliingililia hii story kwa sababu Mkundu alafu mkakuwa wenda wazimu. But hamkukaa chini. Nimewaambia guys, take your time. Go and listen to Ben Gitao's, the Pastor Ben account of events. Then chukua zile recordings za yule victim akiwa kwa platform ya Jacqueline. Usikize pole pole. Take your time before you react and erupt, because it's important that you do. Mnaelewa? Na nimesema hapa na nasema na nawale, because even phone records will always be found. Kama medical reports hazipatikani, the courts also can give orders for phone records. If there are no phone records that corroborate the stories that these two men were giving about them having communication with this man, then there is no case. It's dead. Dead on arrival, guys. And these are the things that these people are afraid of. That's why you're seeing all these things going around. It was a case that was brought because somebody came and talked on social media. Alafu nyinyi wote mkachemka, euphoria, TikTok euphoria. Unasikia? Mulichemka mkachemka. And then at the end of the day, now you realize there's no police report, there is no court order, there are no medical whatever, paperwork to corroborate the stories. There is nothing. They should not be afraid. If you have medical records, it's there. They'll never change. Hata ule mwanamke Peter Kioi alibaka mbele na nyuma, medical records zake bado ziko Nairobi Women's Hospital. Hata bado niko na copies mpaka sahi. They can't be changed. You cannot remove them. They are there. But this idea of somebody coming here to lie to you that kuna polisi wanatrack mtu, ati wanatrack mtu ako Nakuru, sijui ameonekana Limuru, ati alafu mwingine amekuja kusema eti ameonekana kwa hivyo polisi hawatamtrack. That is bullshit. Ujinga wa hali ya juu. Ujinga wa hali ya juu. Unaona? And at this moment, what has happened is sad because for me, I've asked, where is the fourth estate? Where is the Kenyan media? Because there's a lot of jokes going on this platform. The Kenyan media needs to investigate properly what DCIO is doing. The Kenyan media needs to highlight the amount of mockery and stupidity of our judicial system and the police. Kama ni polisi wa Nakuru na Kasarani wamekubali kina DCIO na kina Peter Kioi wawatumie hapa, tunataka kujua. Because you cannot come here and represent the police. That's bullshit. You can't claim that you're tracking someone and you're not a police officer. Cindy Jeff alikuwa polisi lini? And when people and the police are tracking someone, they don't come to social media to say it. What a mockery of our law enforcement. Kwani polisi wa Kenya wamekuwa wapumbavu hivi? Where is the DCIO? Where is the Director of Criminal Investigation? And I'm saying this with authority because I know that my live akunanga chokora. Live zangu, watu wanakuja kwa live zangu, naweza kufungua live nikuwe na watu 200, lakini the people who are here listen. They matter back in the government. Mimi chokora wanisikizangi. Unasikia? So I am asking and I'm saying it very clearly that the Kenyan police is sleeping on their job. They need to tell us why there are Kenyans masquerading on social media, claiming to be tracking Kenyan citizens, claiming to be having warrants, yet they are doing nothing about it. You cannot come and represent the police. The police are the police. So I'm asking the Director of Criminal Investigations in Kenya, why, number one, he is allowing scoundrels to masquerade as law enforcement on TikTok, Kenya. And I'm also asking why the Director of Criminal Investigation in Kenya is okay with his officers sharing information about people who are being tracked in Kenya. I want to know. I want to know if Kenya has become a jungle where there is no law, where law enforcement is something you can wake up and say, today I'm a police officer, I'm tracking someone. How does that happen? When we become that lawless? Have we become that lawless in Kenya? That people can pose? I want to know why the Director of Criminal Investigation has not made arrests for the people who threatened the lives of women and children at a church in Kenya. They went and vandalized a church and they did it in front of children. So the Director of Criminal Investigations in Kenya, I am calling you to action. I'm making a call for action. Na mimi nitakuwa kwa mkundu yako mpaka mwisho. I want to know if you are eating with these people. Nataka kujua when you decided that lawlessness is also okay. As the Director of Criminal Investigations, I want to know why you are okay with a person inciting violence on a platform on social media, and then that violence goes to the ground and somebody's church and property is vandalized to the ground and you have done nothing and 0 arrests have been made so far. Yet there are records, this was televised on television, it is public information, and you have done nothing. Yet the criminals are masquerading and walking free. I want to know what the Director of Criminal Investigations in Kenya is doing about it. Mtuambie. Kama mmeshindwa na kufuata sheria, utuambie. So that we can also occupy. Because we will be doing it by right. What does the Constitution say? The Constitution says that everybody has the right to property, has the right to movement, has the right to speak up without harming another person. You don't wake up and destroy other person's property because you think they're a criminal. And I would like to know what the Law Society of Kenya is doing and if they are paying attention to what is happening on TikTok. Has Kenya become so lawless that now we need a court on TikTok? That is not just a court, but it is a base that is being used to blackmail and extort and solicit from people. That is going to be totally unacceptable. We cannot sit back and watch that happening. If we believe in truth, we must make a call to action. I want to know when it is right for you to go and vandalize somebody's property because they've been accused of something. Is Kenya a banana republic? Have we become a banana republic? That somebody wakes up and calls themselves DCIO and start telling you how they are tracking someone. And they are not a police officer, not even trained. Has Kenya become a banana republic where you wake up, make accusations about someone, kukubaka, na hauwezi ukapeleka polisi, hakuna police reports? Has Kenya become a banana republic where somebody wakes up to claim that there is a warrant of arrest, yet there is no magistrate that has issued anything? Have we become a banana republic that much? The lawlessness is baffling. And I'm going to tell you guys, if you people are not careful, these platforms on TikTok that are calling themselves quote unquote platforms of finding justice because the justice system has failed. And I'll say it confidently because Jacqueline Obewa is a very big and great manipulator. That is how she ended up stealing money from people here. And then she now managed to put Kikuyus in a place that is very dangerous. Because what she did with the Kikuyu community actually made me look like the Kikuyu community as foolish people. She used them, abused them, and then now the Kikuyu community is apparently detaching. But do you know what is going to happen with the detachment? Alienation. That is not what we stand for on this platform. We are supposed to be together, working together. That is what has happened because the Kikuyu community now is going to be alienating itself. And that alienation means that we are not one. That alienation is going to be making tribalism incessant on this platform. That is what has happened. Most of you are here talking about it like a small thing. It's not. That alienation is why this guy, what is this guy who has a big mouth here? Naito Githaiga was being installed as the Kikuyu president. That is the alienation that is going on here. And that's not what we stand for on a platform. So she used you as a community, abused you, and then now as a community, everybody else is going to suffer because you're alienating yourself. And this is a community where we depend on being together so that we can support each other. It's actually sick what's happened. So I'm gonna say it very confidently. There is no police report anywhere. And DCI should stop lying to you. Hakuna hata moja. And the only reason why Jacqueline Obewa came home is because she wanted to strike a deal with the perpetrator so she could get paid. The same deal that she struck with the Njugu Karangas so that the story of Njugu Karanga can go dead. That is what happened. And now, apparently, there are some people fighting, Akina Peter Kioi are fighting because they know very well Jacqueline has come and she's in the middle and she's even gone to the office kwenda huko kuona pasta. Kwa hivyo chances zao za kupata hizo pesa zimefungwa kwa sababu Jacqueline is gonna be getting any money before them. And that's why they're fighting. That's why they're fighting. They're all fighting for a piece of the cake. They are not fighting because they care about justice or integrity. No. Peter Kioi is fighting because he wants a piece of the cake. Ralph Muri is fighting because he also wants a piece of the cake. Don King is fighting because he's protecting the little pieces he's eaten from Jacqueline Obewa. That's why he's protecting her. There's nothing else. It's the money. Super Visuta. So next time ambia babako asinitombe sana avunje meno zangu. So that's what's happening. It's all about the money. All of these people have seen an opportunity to make money. And now the money is no longer there. And now everyone is crumbling. And that the role that Macaroni has on Jacqueline's platform. Macaroni is doing the dirty work for Ruto. He's on Ruto's side. And that's why Jacqueline came out confidently talking about having Ruto come to her platform. She doesn't care about you. She doesn't care about justice for the victims. She cares about herself And that's why she keeps on telling you, people are watching me everywhere. Everybody's watching me. I am the most talked about person. I am the #1 platform right now. I am leading everywhere, because it's all about her visibility. It is never about the victims at all. It's about her visibility, her growth, and what people are going to say about her. That's why now she's talking more about her political ambition. It's never about integrity. So what has happened right now is that the victim stories and their codes have been used to elevate Jacqueline Nombewa's individualism. And now her ego is more bloated than ever. And she's become a braggart on this platform, and there is no stopping her. I'm sorry, she's not going to stop. She's going to be waking up with different cases and different things. And of course, because we know this platform is a platform where people who are mediocre are going to be getting all the attention. And that is how you create monsters. So blame yourselves for what Jacqueline Nombewa has become. Don't blame anybody, because you made her, you built her. You sit on that platform, you enable her, you encourage her, you give her the money, you believe her idiocy, the mediocrity, you entertain it. So you made her who she is. So you're going to be dealing with it, because it's a monster that you created. And that is why we are here. We have Cindy, we have Kolo, we have who else? All these chronic beggars. They are here because we created them. We enabled them. We gave them that power. So you're going to have to clean up your mess because you started it. And I'm saying it very confidently, because for me it's a sad thing that victims are not going to be getting justice. Using victims' ordeals and trauma to enable yourself and gain visibility must be one of the sickest things I've ever seen on social media. So it's upon you guys as TikTokers to make the decisions that you think are right for you, what is good for you. But nobody can teach you where to go. Nobody can tell you what to do. But 2027 is coming. I believe this platform is going to play a vital role in changing conversations and how the political landscape is going to take form in Kenya. And I know there are platforms here that are going to be used either negatively or positively, because politics is about self-interest. And Jacqueline Nombewa is obviously taking care of her self-interest and nothing else. So thank you everybody. Asanteni kwa kukuja. I said I'm gonna be here for 45 minutes and I have 2 minutes. So thank you very much. I hope that everyone is gonna have a good day. Guys, you can watch me at the United Nations. I will be doing a presentation on feminism and the age of social media. I'll be talking about femicide in Kenya and the number of intimate partner violence that has happened to Kenyan women this whole week. I'm having sessions tomorrow. I'll be having sessions on Thursday and Friday. And I do hope that you people pay attention to what is happening in New York. That is the Commission for Status of Women Worldwide by the United Nations. It's one of the largest gatherings of women that brings 10,000 women from all over the world to the United Nations. We talk about issues of women, talk about the status of women, and I am proud, very proud to be representing and following the legacy of my mama, because my mama attended Beijing, and today we are going to be talking about Beijing after 1992. So yes, very proud to be part of the people who are going to be there representing. And yes, you can make as much noise about Diana Ross as you want, hate me as much as you want. I believe so much in women. I still do. And that should not make you think that because I love women and believe in women, that you can chokoza me and I don't insult you. No, don't be cheated. My feminism, thank you Mama Mouse, how are you doing? My feminism is about protecting other people and myself. Sawa, ukikuja kunichokoza na unitusi, my friend, hakuna vile utakuwa safe ati because I'm a feminist. No way. I'll match that energy. You bring it to me, I match it. Sawa sawa. Tumeelewana? Yeah, so to all the women, because I've seen a lot of Kenyan women have come, I'm so happy to see you all, and tutakutana tena kesho na tuendelee kujadiliana na kuzidi kuongea kama wanawake ili kuendeleza maneno ambayo yanaweza kusaidia wanawake kila mahali, kila ulimwenguni kote. Sawa sawa. It's important for you guys to follow. You can follow the CSW online at the United Nations portal. Please follow it. It's there. So if you want to see any events, follow them. Tomorrow there'll be an event. I think I'll be in by IGAD and the United Nations. Milima Bona will be doing a presentation, and there'll be a question and answering sessions. Those are the things that you need to pay attention to. Know where the world is going in the age of fascism. Know where the world is going in the age of patriarchy. It's important that you guys follow up with that. Sawa sawa. Mnafaa kuendelea na mjue what is going on in the world in terms of women and issues of women. Otherwise, read a book. Important that you do so. Chukua kitabu usome. I've always told you that you need to read as women. If you read, it takes you places that you have never been before. Reading will make you fly to places where you cannot go because you cannot afford an air ticket. So, it will take you places where your mind will be blown away. It opens up your mind, it helps you in your arguments, and it puts you in places where you can have conversations with women on a global platform. So I do hope that tutaonana. Asanteni sana my moderators, na wapenda wote, all those people who are gifting me, the people who are tapping. Asanteni sana. Take care of yourselves, guys, and make sure this month is a month for women. Celebrate yourself, celebrate your wins, take your time, treat yourself, love yourself, take care of yourself, because it's the month for women. So happy International Women's Month, and I love you all, and take care of yourself. Asanteni. Thank you Galadosu baby na kila mtu. Thank you. Aya, nimeshuka nywele lakini nataka kuitoa, kichwa inaniuma guys. Mimi nimezoea wig zangu. Oh, thank you Sulwe. Thank you. Nimezoea wig zangu. Hii kitu inaniuma kichwa, yani hata sijiwezi. Kulala siwezi. Take care of yourselves. Oh, nikosaje kuweka muziki yangu kidogo. Abu angalia Arsenal ativumilia koma. Nivumilie uchungu. Aya. Acha niweke wimbo moja for women. Mm.